Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Bryce Ayers from codelife.io, and today we're going to be picking up on a project we completed recently called Color Picker. And it just had, when we left off, you just could slide these dials and it would change the value up here. But now you can see we added the actual color changing on the fly. So pretty cool example here. So now you can see how these actually affect. And you can see how if I slide the red all the way to 255 in hexadecimal, that is FF. Pretty cool. Slide the blue, that's also FF. And then this will turn it white and you won't be able to see it. So pretty neat stuff. Really going to be a fun project. The other thing I added was you could go boop, click copy, and it's copied to your clipboard. So then you can then paste it wherever you want. So kind of a handy feature. So let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so let's head over to github.com. My name is Earl, that's me, and / React Slider tutorial. So if you follow the previous video, great, your code's ready to go. If not, you need to go over to GitHub, go to my project, and this is where I left off on the previous project. So you can go and grab this and then make your changes to it. So you can click here, and if you have Git installed, perfect. You can then just grab this URL, the SSH, or the HTTPS one. I use the SSH. It's a little easier. But if you have problems with SSH, use HTTPS. If you have problems with that, just download the project with download zip. So it should be pretty straightforward. So I'm just going to use SSH since I have my SSH key set up. And we'll just go over to the console, git clone, and the name of it. If you had to download it, you can go CD into the project wherever you have it. Perfect. So the project is now cloned. So we type ls cd react slider tutorial. All right. So now we're in the project. One other thing we need to do, we're going to use this library. I started doing it from scratch, the copy logic, but it's actually a little more involved than I like it to be for this tutorial. So I'm just going to use this guy. Should be pretty easy to use. Where's the command for it? There it is, copy-to-clipboard. Okay. So I'm just going to use yarn add, or you can type npm install -- save, and then the name of it. Yarn add copy to clipboard. I should add it to our project. There we go. Cool. So let's run yarn start or npm start. Well, if you have any issues there, I forgot, since I cloned it down, I actually need to do a yarn install or npm install. But it did it as a part of that step. So just FYI, you can run yarn install. That's why I was like, why is it taking so long? Because I had to download stuff. So long to install that copy to clipboard. Cool. So we should have everything. This should work. Just wanted to point that out. Cool. So project's working exactly where we left off. Now it's time to make some changes. So poop. All right. I need to actually open up Visual Studio Code and type yarn start. Here we go. Hide from sidebar. And we should have our component, the slider component, and our app.js. Cool. So these are the two files we're going to work on here. So in app.js, let's go down here. First thing we're going to do, I believe this is the red. So I'm actually going to rearrange this, move it up. So now the red, green, and then the blue color. So we need some props to tell which ones these are, so we know which ones we need to update. So I'm going to add a property called hex color. Actually, I'm going to highlight this and then hit Command D twice, so we can type this in. So we've got hex color equals, and I'll just type red for now. Then we need to handle when we update the color with the slider. So we're going to create a function called handle update color. And it'll just be this dot handle update color. Cool. So we'll create that function in a second. With the hex color red, let's create that function. Handle update color. Right now we'll just put a console log in there. Made it. Let's change this now to green and this to blue. Cool. So now we know which ones they are. We got red, green, blue, and we're passing them a function that allow them to update their color, which isn't doing anything yet, but we'll come back to that. So let's go into slider. And in slider, I don't think we have to make too many changes here. I'm just going to start at 0. Excuse me. Start at 0 there. And what else we need to do? We have our handle on change. So actually when this happens here, so we need to change this. Was that nice little function we had before? So what we need to do is, let's actually grab that value. So I'll say const value equals e.target.value. Oops. So destructure there. So this can just become value now. Actually, this can just become this. Sweet. Which is the same as if you typed that right there, since it's simplified version there. And then the other thing we need to do in here is call the parent component, which is going to be app.js. We need to call this update color. So tell it, hey, I've changed, my slider value has gotten larger or smaller. So we'll say this dot props dot handle update color. Say this dot props dot hex color. So we'll pass it our color, so red, green, or blue, and then we want to pass it the value. And you'll see why, because we need to distinguish, like, is the blue one now at 120? Is the red one at 255? So now we have those values coming back. I think that's all we really need to change here in the slider. So now let's go back here in app.js, and what do we want to put in here? So we're passing the hex color and the value. So let's type color and value, and instead of made it, let's put in here, say, I can't remember the command to do multi. I don't use Visual Studio Code normally. I use WebStorm, but I know how to hit Command D 4 times. Cool. So let's say const red. We'll say this dot state dot color dot slice, which I need a state. Sorry, jumping around here, thinking of things on the fly. So we actually need to maintain the state of the color, the current color. So let's set the current color to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Set to 6 zeros. And then the other thing we're gonna need for our state, we'll say show copy text. We'll set that to false. We'll use that in a second. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna create our colors, red, green, blue, and this one's actually not gonna be this. Red, green, blue, and what I'm gonna do is just grab the current value, so we can use that to kind of mash it together here in a second. So if I want to grab the current red color from the state, it'd be these 2 characters. So if I was using slice, I would say, actually, let's do this, because I need to finish this, to uppercase. There we go. Because if we got like lowercase f or whatever, we want to capitalize it. So we'll say 0, 0. Excuse me, I'm not paying attention here. So starting position will be 0, and the end number, let me bump up this text here so you guys can see what I'm working on. Will be 2. So it'll go, that'll be the stopping point. So it'll go position 0, position 1. So position 0 is this guy, position 1 is this guy. So grab all those, then we'll say 2 to 4, and then 4 to 6. Oops. And so that end value is actually, it's like stop before you get to that one, do not include. Change that to a comma. Cool. So that's looking pretty good. Then we actually need the hexadecimal color that we're passing in. We can't actually use this value straight up because this value coming in is going to be like 255, 150. It's going to be in decimal, which is base 10. We need hexadecimal, which is base 16. We'll say hex color, so we need to convert it. So we're going to say the value is a number, and then we're going to say .toString, and we'll say base 16. But the problem is it's going to drop the zeros to the left. So if you have a value like 0, 0, it's not going to leave the leading zero. So we need to pad it on the start there. So we'll say pad start. And I had to look these up. I don't use these on a regular basis. These are kind of new ones for me. So pad it with zeros, then 2 uppercase. Uppercase? Yeah. There we go. So that should do the trick. We may not need these uppercases there. I'll leave them there for now. So now that we have all our colors broken up, we basically have gone into whatever the existing color is in our state. We fetched them for red, green, and blue. The new one coming in, we've converted the number 255 to base 16, which would be FF. And then we need to mash them together based on which color is coming in. So what we can do is we can say if color triple equals red, then we want to say this dot set state, and we'll say color, and I'm going to use backticks here because I'm going to use a template literal. Just makes it a little cleaner to put in our value. So the first value is going to be red, so we'll say hex color. Our next 2 digits are going to be the green, so we can just say green in this case, and we'll say blue. I know this isn't going to be super efficient, basically parsing all these out when, like, for example, in this one, we didn't even use the red value, but for a human to be able to read this, it makes it a little cleaner. So that's why I'm for that. Cool. So I think we can just copy this line actually and say else if green. So let's do something similar here, except now I'll change this to red. And the green will be our hex color that gets replaced. So if it matches on green, else, you can just remove that. Else we know it's blue. So here we can say red, and the blue color will get replaced with the hex color that we convert from the slider value, 255, 150, whatever it is, into hexadecimal, FF or whatever. Cool. So that's looking pretty good. Let's check out what we got. Oh, we're not actually displaying it, so it'd be hard to tell. So the next thing would be, let's go down here. So under our color picker, let's put an input in here. And we'll say type text. And we're going to have a few more properties here I want to put in. Type text, the value. So what we're going to do is just set the value straight up. We're not going to allow people to type into this thing. So we're going to just say this dot state. This dot, yeah. Let's do a template literal. Do that. $, And this $sign basically declares that like this is going to be a variable. We're going to put in this string here. Say this dot state dot color, and we'll say disabled equals disabled. Cool. So hopefully this will change. Yeah. How cool is that? So you see what's happening there. We're converting this value, the 255 is getting set to FF, the FF, and then the final green value would be FF. Did I do that right? Red, I thought it was red, green, blue. Those do not match up, I don't think. Let's see here. What went wrong? Red. Oh, this is the blue. And this is the green. There we go. Let's switch that around. So I drag this. There we go. There we go. There we go. Cool. So that's looking good now. Awesome. So now we have that. We want this color to actually update this color here. So what we can do, let's come up here to our styles. We need to pass actually a color prop to styles. So that way we can use it and display stuff. So we'll say this dot state dot color. And now if we come up to our styles, let's see, just to save time, I'm gonna copy pasta this styling I got. So say for an input, the background color, we're gonna use our props here like we did before in the slider. You remember doing this where you can take in whatever props you pass and then pass them along. So we're gonna say props.color will be our background color. Then I'm just doing some flexbox stuff to help lines things up. Actually, I don't know if I need this flex here. Let me try getting rid of that and see what happens. Cool. So that's looking pretty good. Something happened there. Let's see. Got that. It's the only downside with style components. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you have everything right here. That looks okay. That definitely changed the styling there. That's odd. I'm trying to figure out why the styling's weird. Figure it out in a second here. Because we've got a couple more things we got to do. So now that the color's changing, that part's looking good. Interesting. Now that part's looking good, what we can do is we can now apply the copy to it. And so we need it to be, we don't want to use the input here. I actually want to do something different. So we want to probably wrap it in a button. So we're into some interesting issues. When I was trying to click on the input, you would try to select the text or whatever else. So I'll actually put a button here. We'll wrap our input. And on the button, we want to say on click, we need to call a function. We'll say this dot handle copy to clipboard. And we need to go up here and create this function. So handle copy to clipboard. And handle copy to clipboard is going to take, there's a function called copy. We need to import copy to clipboard. Cool, so import it up there. Then come back down here. So we're going to say copy. And what do we want to actually copy to the clipboard? We want a pound sign or hashtag for you millennials. And this .state.color. So that'll copy that to the clipboard. And then we want to show the text when we copy. So if I come back over, it's looking a little better. If I click that, I think that'll work. If I paste it, nope, that didn't work right. That's all right. We'll keep moving along. We'll figure it out as we get there. So let's go ahead and do the toggle show copy text. We'll say this dot toggle show copy text because I don't want to all mash it into one function here. And toggle show copy text. Because we want to reference this guy here. And what we want to do is we want to update the state. So if you remember, we have our state show copy text false. So right now it's just doing nothing. But we want to update that because what we want to do is, where is it? Down here. Oh, value. Okay. So in the value, we want to show the word copied, or we want to show the color. So basically toggle that. So when you click on it, it says copied. So we'll say this dot state dot show copy text. So if that is true, we're going to just say copied, or we're going to show the current color, state.color. So we need to toggle that. And so how do we update the state? Well, we use this dot set state. So we've done that a bunch. Shouldn't be anything brand new. And so in here, we'll say show copy text true. But once that's done running, we want to have a callback function. So once it finally updates, then what we want to do is set a timeout. So that'll toggle the text back, set it back to false. So then it'll go back to the color. So you can pass a callback function, which a lot of people don't know about. So you can call this set state, and once it's finally done updating and re-rendering, then I'll call this. That way we can guarantee it'll show for exactly 1 second. Ish, I say. So we use our classic set timeout, which is a built-in function in JavaScript. So you can just set a timer for however many milliseconds you want. And when it's done, so essentially once our timer is up, we want to call this dot set state like we did before. And we'll say show copy text. We'll set it back to false. And then we got to set our duration. So you see milliseconds, a number. So we'll say 1,000 milliseconds, which is 1 second, is what we want to execute there. So it should be straightforward. Actually, I don't need all of that. I can put it on one line, I think, here. Cool. So that looks good. I think I just need to update some styling. So let's go. I should put for our H1 tag, I just wanted to give it a little padding on the bottom, or margin, I suppose. 0.5 REM. Feel free to style this how you guys want. And then I want to do button, because we had some weird styling with the button. I'll say padding 0. We'll say border 0. And when it's focused, like we click on it, I want there to be no outline. And so I want to target all inputs, just the one inside there. So then we can put the input there. Now let's take a look at it. All right. Now it's looking better. So it must have been just the styles were off. So if I drag this around, let's say we get it there. I should be able to click. It should say copied. It does. 1 second later, it goes back. And we can just double check here. Let me paste. And boom, we got the color. So that is looking good. So kind of a long tutorial for just a little bit of difference, but you can see how cool of an effect that is and how beneficial that could be. You could have it spit out maybe 10 different types. You could have the hexadecimal, you could have the RGB, RGBA, which has the opacity, all kinds are, what is it? The CMYK values, all kinds of options you could have here. And it could be a really cool app. So you can help people see the colors, the different values, and then just click and copy them. So hopefully this tutorial has been helpful. If it has, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. By liking and subscribing, it helps others find the video in the YouTube algorithm. Also, I think there's a little bell there now. So if you want to get updates, you actually got to click the little bell icon. You can't just subscribe anymore. So do that, please. Thanks again. Please share. Follow me on Twitter at codelife.io. And thanks again. Have fun, guys.